Hi everyone, my name is Erin Elizabeth Warenberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new here. Today we have a full moon in Aries. So for today's tarot reading, I will be reading the cards in a way that is like full moon. So kind of like releasing energy, things to let go of, cycles ending, all of that. So I have three groups for you today. You can pick by the card you can see, by the number, by the sound of my voice, group one, group two, or group three. Take as much time as you need. When you're ready, all the timestamps are below, and I will see you at the reading that you chose. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number one. So as a reminder, this is a full moon reading. So I'll be reading the cards in that way. We're going to be looking at energies we can release, things we can let go of, and really tapping into this full moon energy of like the end of the moon cycle, let things go, all of that. Okay, so you all picked the card, the goddess Sulis, bodies of water. Spend time near water, such as a lake, river, or the ocean to recharge your batteries. So I think what I'm really getting from this card is if you are in the northern hemisphere or somewhere where it's like a little bit cold, maybe going in the water might not be the most ideal or helpful or good for you right now. But if you can go to the water, like this card suggests, or if you can take a bath, or even if you don't have a bathtub, even just like sitting down and letting the water wash over you in the shower. Just I'm hearing the word like a lot of like cleansing energy, just releasing things, letting things go. So we know that water is the great purifier. We know water is one of many, many wonderful elements that the earth has given us to enjoy and to engage with. And so when we really look at that and we really think about that, especially with this full moon of letting things go, right? It can be really nourishing. It's like when people get baptized or when they need like a refresh, right? They go for a swim or they, there's something really like on the spiritual level, on the soul level, something really affirming about like going in water and releasing things and letting things go that really can represent and can help us feel like we are shifting something or changing something or just kind of like letting something go. So I think with this full moon, especially if you're having trouble releasing something, like it could be something in physical reality or a story or a belief about yourself, like just imagining yourself like dunking in that water and releasing it, or just washing, like if you're sitting in the shower, like imagining it cleansing you, letting you go, releasing it, all of that for yourself. So again, bodies of water, and just remembering, we can wash clean, we can feel washed anew, we can come out the other side. So that's the first message I'm getting with this. And then the other one is, if you've heard that saying, that quote, that's like water erodes rocks because it's persistent, because it just goes over the same spot over and over and over again, not because it's like very forceful. I mean, okay, yes, like tsunami and a giant tidal wave and a flood, all of that can wash things away, right? But there's also water that can be very gentle and very persistent and just stays on the path. And that's how we can change certain things, because there is this like persistence and this focus and this just like repeated action over and over again, and that changes things, even if it seems like nothing's happening when we're waiting for it to happen with all of that. So, again, just really group one, something with water, also drinking water. We love water. Amazing. Okay. So just something about being connected to water, really letting yourself feel like just even like the rhythmic of the tide coming in if you're by a sea or the ocean, something like this. But there's something that your soul is really asking for to connect with this water, with this full moon, especially around releasing things, especially around letting yourself be different, especially around letting yourself, kind of like come out the other side with this energy. Okay, so bodies of water coming through for you, group one. Okay, like usual, I'm going to look at your tarot and then I'll look at your oracle cards. Okay, Three of Pentacles to open your reading. And then we have the Six of Cups. Then we have Ace of Swords. Then Ace of Wands, two aces in a row. And then Queen of Wands. And then Queen of Cups. So that's interesting. Two aces, two queens. So I feel like with this like nourishing, this cleansing, this whatever you're going through, group one, I'm kind of feeling like it doesn't feel like super heartbreaking, but maybe you're going through a transition time or like a transitory time, or something is changing and you're like, maybe you're just settling into like the last 3 months of the year. For if you're in the northern hemisphere, some winter energy, right? So some like slowing down. a little bit. So what I'm getting with this Three of Pentacles and the Six of Cups is like, this is a time for you to like really lean on community care and support, and also like connecting to your inner child and being really like soothing and gentle with yourself. So here, this Three of Pentacles is about, you know, connecting, letting yourself be supported, letting yourself feel loved and cared for, letting yourself know that there are people who do want to care for you and show up for you, and all of that energy, and you can lean into that and you can trust that. So maybe this thing that was coming up in terms of like letting something go or releasing something, right? Like we do have to do our own work, right? We do have to like no one can do our work for us, no one can make it easier than it has to be, right? All these wonderful things, but sometimes it is easy for us to get caught up in like um like, oh, I have to do this all on my own completely, right? Like you have to do it yourself, but you can get support from it. So whatever you're trying to let go or release, I'm just like getting an image of like watching YouTube videos or watching something. So hello, this one, okay? But like if there's a specific something, like I'm hearing like listening to other people's stories will be really helpful for you, or like, if you know a friend who went through something you're going through, or it might not even be like a hard time. It might just be like you need some direction in life, or like, so maybe asking people in your circle, like, how did you know what was the right path for you? How did you know what was the right thing for you? Right, really holding on to that and like trusting that to open up. Just knowing that like, okay, there is, again, like we have to do our own work. We have to get clear within ourselves. We need to maintain our own connection to God and to like clarity in that way. But it's also important for us to remember that we can reach out for help. We can ask other people to guide us and show us the way and all of that. So I think, with this is really about making sure, you don't go into like complete hyper independence. I have to do this all on my own completely, right? Like, again, it is important to be responsible for our own part, to take care of ourselves, but you can have this community, you can have support, you can rely on people who have done this before, even if it's not someone you know personally or something like this. But I'm just really getting this energy of like leaning into that, and then instead of just feeling like, okay, I need to totally do this completely on my own, and no one can help me and no one can support me and no one can love me. And it might even be, what to do, but you just want to rely on your friends for your community, your loved ones, for support of like affirmation of like, yes, you can do it. Or this is, like you are on the right path. These things are great for you. So it feels good to have love and care and support from people who we have built healthy rapport with. That's a normal part of being a human. It's a normal part of connectedness. It's a normal part of being an interdependent species. Instead of feeling like, oh, I have to do everything on my own. That's it, right? And then the Six of Cups, I feel like, again, that's going to be really nourishing for your inner child. It's going to be really nourishing for like, maybe there's some, again, this doesn't feel like super, super heavy energy, but just maybe something around like needing to feel seen and supported and taken care of and heard. So it feels like when you do that, like that's going to pour into and nourish some like safety for your inner child and for your connection with yourself. And of course, once we feel that, then it's easier for us to take action, to move forward, to do all of that. So I think this bodies of water thing can really connect to this energy of feeling like, how can I feel nourished and, taken care of and supported and all of that. So really looking at who's my community, how can I rely on them, what's going on, instead of, just being like, I have to do it my way by myself. No one can help me. No one can do any of this. Okay. So again, Three of Pentacles, Six of Cups energy, really letting those like play into each other and letting those, you know, kind of like I just saw an image of like an infinity loop and like a marble like rolling around it, right? Like when you nourish your inner child through community care, then there's more nourishment and the other way around. And maybe also with this bodies of water, maybe going swimming, maybe like playfulness, like something lighthearted with water. Also, it can be a nourishing thing, but it's also fun. It's fun to go swimming if you like swimming. If you don't like swimming, don't. Okay, but if you like swimming, that can also be something for you to consider. Because like this is really beautiful. I'm going to talk about these separately, but we have here two aces into two queens. So I feel like this is going to help you move into like a little bit more like beginning energy, and then that is going to like evolve into more mature advanced energy. So like everything in life, there's no skipping steps, right? We have to do what is asked of us in the order it is asked of us in order to like get through this and get through something. So I feel like what I was talking about in terms of like feeling this inner child feeling safe, once that happens, then that opens us up for this energy of this Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands. And so this is like new energy, it's fresh energy. It's especially Ace of Swords is around like fresh energy around boundaries. And the Ace of Wands is fresh energy around like passion or ideas or clarity, things like this. So I feel like, if you felt a little like, so this waters card, this water card, recharge your batteries, right? If you felt like you needed to felt a little depleted, like you're just kind of running on fumes, you're a little bit empty, I feel like this renewed energy is going to come once you connect to yourself and once you allow yourself to get that community support and love and care, and also connect with that inner child. And also, what I'm hearing also very clearly now is like make sure it's fun and lighthearted. Maybe you've been really focused on like I have to do this and this is my path and blah blah blah, right? But sometimes it is helpful for us to do these things in like a lighthearted, kind, fun way as well, right? So this Ace of Swords to the Ace of Wands can be a reminder that like this Ace of Swords is about setting boundaries. And so it doesn't mean that, you have no boundaries and they didn't work. And okay, maybe it does. But because this is like baby energy, I think you're getting some clarity on maybe some shifts you need to make in your life, maybe some changes, right? Before we move into the next chapter of our lives, we have to kind of like adjust our energy a little bit. We have to bring some awareness in. We have to kind of have things change a little bit for us. And so maybe you're getting some insight of like, okay, like this used to be a thing that worked for me, but where I'm going with my future, I know I can't allow this certain thing to happen anymore. Or this used to be a thing that worked for me, but now I know I need to do a little bit more of this, right? So honoring like, okay, what comes through with these boundaries? What's these new things I want to set? And then that Ace of Wands, once you create that framework for yourself, like then this renewed passion, this new renewed motivation, this renewed inspiration can come through you, right? Because boundaries aren't, contrary to popular belief, they're not to control someone else, or they're not to be like, haha, F off, here's my boundary, right? Boundaries are for us to protect our energy. They're healthy ways to communicate with other people. They're ways to let people who love us know how to communicate with us in these certain ways. Okay, so this Ace of Swords again is about like when we set those, when we get clear about these new boundaries, then we have this safe framework, we have this container for us to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. And that's where like the inspiration can come in, because we feel safe, we feel protected, we feel clear with all of these things. So again, Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, this is just energy about like making sure that, kind of like dipping your toe, sticking with the water analogies here, okay, dipping your toe in this water of this next layer for yourself, this next place you want to go, these next things you want to open up into. So just really trusting that. And so with this full moon kind of being like, okay, what do I need to release in terms of boundaries, and what can I open myself up to more? What can be a better fit for me? What can be a better match for me? All of those things. And again, Ace of Wands, just really looking at like, once you do that, okay, well, what's the inspiration? What do I feel guided to next? What's the next place of growth? I feel like group one, you're in a little bit of a transitory time, and there needs to be some like, not needs to, but the energy I'm getting from this reading is like, there's some awareness of like, okay, it's time for me to do something different. It's time for me to be different. It's time for me to have different ways I'm showing up in physical reality in my life. Because then we have the Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, beautiful ending of your reading. This is very mature energy. And so we have the Queen of Wands here. Again, so I feel like that's a very clear development from the Ace of Wands, and then this Queen of Cups. So very emotional. Queen of Cups is emotional maturity, and Queen of Wands is like maturity around a passion, around an idea, around what's coming through for you. So I feel like if you're in this little shift of like, maybe you've been in a little bit of hibernation, or things like, doesn't seem like things in physical reality have been moving that well for you or that much for you, this energy is really, saying that like these things, like when the seed is planted, sometimes we're like, okay, what's going on? But the seed has to grow down and anchor those roots and get clear within itself before it can grow up and sprout outward into like this abundance and these new things. So this Queen of Wands, this Queen of Cups is a reminder that you can get there. Things can shift and change for you. They can be different. And it's up to you to allow that for yourself to come through. And so I feel like as you continue on this, there is like some growth that you might not, we don't know the ways we're going to grow as long as we stay on our path. So letting yourself be surprised by the growth, letting yourself be open to the growth, letting yourself just be aware of the ways that, again, this Queen of Wands, this Queen of Cups they can be there for you, and they can let yourself grow into that. But again, like trusting, like we can't skip steps in the process, like I said. And so like this phase where it kind of feels like nothing's happening, nothing's going on, right? You're on your way, and just trusting things are unfolding for you in the way that is best for you, even if it feels like it's not, or you don't know what's going on or what's happening. So again, group one, I don't really feel like super intense energy. If you are, okay, I'm sending you a lot of love, but it just feels more of like confirmation that, trying to let go of some things with this full moon so you can create space for these new things that are coming in for you. And like, again, the way your soul wants to grow, the way your soul wants to know itself with these things. Okay, I'm going to look at your oracle cards now. Okay, so, well, I never know which one I want to start with. So, okay, we'll start with this one. We have fate. So this is just what I'm talking about, of just like, the egg has to be there. The egg has to be, what does an egg do? Birthed, created. Okay, the egg has to come into reality before we can hatch from it. So I feel like, if you're in this transition of like, it's like, what's been going on? I don't feel super motivated. I don't feel super clear. I don't really know what is the right guidance for me or what's going on. This is a reminder, fate is always at work for us. Things are always going on in a way that we can't see everything with our limited human minds. So if it feels like what's going on, I can't get there, I don't know what's happening, blah, 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 right? This is a reminder that fate is on your side. These things are working for you. These things are coming together. These things are all, part of the highest good for everyone involved. So remembering there are unseen forces at work here, and just remembering that you can only control yourself, and we can only focus on things that we can do for ourselves. And so if that's true, saying, okay, what boundaries do I need to look at? What places do I need to say no? How can I kind of adjust some of these things in my life as these things are unfolding for me in these ways? But just remembering, you're not, God never ever forgets us. God never ever leaves us. And these things are kind of like, moving and unfolding for us in a way that it's easy to forget because we're so self-centered and like, what's happening with me? What's going on with this? Blah, 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 right? But instead letting that go and kind of letting these things unfold in a way that feels good and loving and, maybe not loving. Sorry about that. I had a camera problem, but as I was saying, letting things come in and let them feel, how they need to be feeling and how they need to be working with that. Okay, because then we have the angel of discernment. Through the grace of the divine, I am able to know the right path. So again, this is what I was talking about with like knowing how to set these boundaries, knowing how to create this framework for yourself, knowing how to rely on people in your community, and just trusting like, okay, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. This thing used to work for me, but it doesn't work for me anymore. Or this used to be like this, or this like this. Okay, so just really trusting that and knowing that, you can trust. Like the further you get on your spiritual path, the more nuanced you need to be in terms of which things work for you or not. So really trusting that discernment, trusting what feels good for you, trusting, where you need to be going with all of that. And then we have dream. So again, I feel like this is just a reminder that there is so much in life for you still. There's so many new things, new parts of yourself to discover, new parts of things to come forward, new parts of things to just like really affirm who you are and get to the other side and just allow these things to flow through for you. So again, this dream energy, don't cut yourself short. Don't feel like, oh, well, what's next? What could be possible, right? We're infinite souls. We can spend a whole lifetime if we're willing and go down our spiritual path, of getting deeper and knowing ourselves more and more and more. So don't be scared to dream and just really hold space for that. And then this card is karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. So again, I don't feel like there's too much conflict going on here with you guys in group one. It doesn't feel super intense energy, but it's just a reminder that maybe a way you need to rely on your community or a way you can ask for help is just kind of discerning some of this like, okay, this was a relationship that didn't serve me in the way I thought it did. How can I release it? How can I let it go? Just remembering that many things in life are there for us to grow and expand, and we can find a lesson in them if we want to. Sometimes the lesson is to let it mean nothing. Sometimes the lesson is to not internalize someone else's behavior, right? It doesn't have to be this like kumbaya spiritual bypassing. That was amazing. I forgive everyone, right? If you're mad, that's fine. If it was not a good experience, that's fine. Okay, but just remembering that there are certain um, things that help us just get more clear, again, with this angel of discernment energy of like get more clear of like, okay, this is for me, this is not for me, from these things. And again, not excusing, condoning, or allowing bad behavior, but just remembering like, um, you know, everything, we have a choice if we use things for our soul growth. And again, that's not in a spiritual bypassing way. It could be a way of like, this person treated me really badly, and I am still going to choose to love and accept myself. I'm still going to choose to show up with like loving, kind, forgiving energy to myself, right? Instead of like judging myself or feeling like, what's wrong with me? I'm unlovable. I'm whatever, 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 right? So I feel like just one little message for some of you, this karmic relationships energy is maybe that's something that you need to like, wash off of yourself. It might not be a specific relationship, but just, this energy of where did I get this message about myself from? And can it be time for me to like release it and not super read into it and not super internalize a lot of this anymore? Okay, I'm going to close with one affirmation card for you guys in group one. Okay, I can be trusted. Okay, so this is really beautiful. So this is just what I was talking about. And it's kind of like a theme of your reading, right? It's like, I can be trusted. That can be between you and you, right? Sometimes we think like, well, if I trusted myself and I had this like bad outcome or things didn't go how I wanted, how can I trust myself again, right? But I can be trusted means I can trust myself. Sometimes when we listen to God's guidance, we still end up in situations that we wouldn't choose for ourselves, that don't feel the best, right? But that's because other people have free will and they get to act from their own free will. It doesn't mean we chose wrong or we can't hear ourselves or whatever. So I can be trusted. That can be an affirmation for yourself, especially as you think about what boundaries do I want to set? What passion is coming through for me? Where do I want to go next in my life? So again, I can be trusted. I can trust myself. I have a healthy relationship with myself, with my higher power, with God, and that allows me to trust myself. So I can be trusted. Very beautiful card affirmation to close with. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much and happy full moon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's for everyone who picked group number 2. So as a reminder, this is a full moon reading. So I'll be reading the cards in that way in terms of letting things go, releasing things, cycles ending, all of that wonderfulness. Okay. So you all picked the goddess card, Goddess Diana, focused intention. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target, and you will make your mark. So I feel like with this card and with this full moon, what we can release is our addiction to distractions, or our addiction to like saying, okay, well, it's not going my way, or it's a rocky road or whatever. And so this might not be the right thing for me, right? Obstacles are the way. Things not going your way doesn't mean that it's the wrong path. Okay. Contrary to popular belief, especially now with like law of attraction being so in, toxic law of attraction is like, oh, if there's a problem, or if this is challenging, or if this is whatever, then this isn't the thing for me, right? Okay. But the truth is, a lot of things that are for us actually make us look at parts of ourselves that don't feel the best, or look at things that, again, no one wants to go through hardship willingly. I get it. But obstacles are the way sometimes. And sometimes there's things we have to uncover and learn and rewrite within ourselves on the way to something, so that once we get there, we're a better match for it than we originally thought we were in the beginning. So focused intention is a reminder that, keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target, and you will make your mark of just like, okay, this is what I want. It's like get rich or die trying. Like, I'm going to get there one way or another. And just because I had one little hiccup along the way, or this thing happened that felt a little challenging, right, doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Like, we need to let go of this idea that, sometimes things are really easy and simple and clear, right? But there's other times where, like remembering our thoughts and feelings and actions, Like, we can only control ourselves, and so it's like, okay, what am I willing to go through and to face within myself and get on the other side so that I can be a match for this thing? What am I willing to look at and realize, okay, this is just a thing that's coming up because it's something for me to work through. It doesn't mean it's an absolute no, or it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, or it doesn't mean, whatever, right? So keeping your thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target just means like, okay, this is just another thing to deal with. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to get there. It doesn't mean that I'm failing or whatever, right? The thing is, if you just keep going, right? Persistence and commitment to something is way more of a determiner if something happens in our lives than um than if we get it right the first time, or if it just comes together perfectly, no problem, right? There's so many stories of people, I'm sure this has happened in your life, just like it's happened in mine, right? With like, okay, if I would have given up on the 99th try when I did it the 100th time, I wouldn't have got there. So I'm just seeing this image of like, it's really close and you can get there. And like, you never know when the tide's going to turn for you. And it's important for you to just keep going and keep focused on what you want. And remembering, like, again, the obstacles are the way. Hiccups doesn't mean there's something wrong. It's just, kind of working through these things in order to get to your goal. And it doesn't mean like allowing something in your life that's like not helpful or toxic or whatever, right? But it's saying like, okay, this was a not super good experience, but I'm going to refocus my energy on my goal and what I want to have happen, instead of, saying like, okay, this unfortunate, not great experience, that doesn't mean this isn't for me. Just means that that one particular instance, there was something in there for me to work through, just even if it is just to learn to rely on our own strength and like see the strength that we have within ourselves, or see our connection to God a little bit more clearly, or trust ourselves, or, build our own fortitude, which again, nobody likes to hear that, but that's part of the human experience. That's part of life. So, focused intention, just again, if you know why you're doing something, right? What's the saying? Any, hold on. Uh, a clear why can withstand any how, something like that. Okay, right? So it's just knowing that if you know why you want to do something, how you'll get there is like, that's less important than like, I know I want this because this, and this. This is the thing I feel called to do. This is what feels resonant for me. If I stay focused on what I can control and what's for me, then I know I can get there to the other side with this. So again, focused intention. So with this full moon, I think if you want to think about what you can release and let go of, that can be things along the lines of like, well, I can't do it because of this thing, or I got pushed back from this person in my life, or I thought it was this, but it was a mistake, or I thought this was the thing, but it's not, right? So kind of letting go of some of those and letting go of this belief that like, oh, well, it was hard, so that must not be the path for me, or that must not be the thing for me. Again, just remembering that things will come up and they are challenging, but it doesn't mean you are choosing incorrectly. Okay, I'm going to look at your tarot cards first, like usual, and then I will look at your oracle cards. Okay, so opening your reading, we have the Ten of Pentacles, and then we have the Page of Cups, and the Page of Swords. So some new energy here going on for you. The Hanged Man, Seven of Swords, and Temperance. Okay, so so what's going on is, I feel like, so this Ten of Pentacles to me is a very clear continuation of this focused intention. This is like, I feel like group two, you have a really clear vision in your mind of like, this is what I want, this is the thing. Ten of Pentacles is about abundance, and so like physical reality abundance, like the dream job, the dream home, the dream partnership, the dream reality, the dream whatever, right? So this Ten of Pentacles is about all of that. And so I feel like matched with this focus intention is like, what I'm hearing is like, don't doubt what the desire that's in your heart, right? God created our hearts, and so we can trust what God has placed in our hearts. And so, maybe the details of it might be a little bit different, the timing might be different, the journey might be different, but group two, if there have been some doubts, if you've been going through some hardship or some challenges, or some like, well, I thought it was this, but it's been taking a really long time, or it's been really challenging, or I've had to face some things within myself that I didn't want to look at, right? This is saying like, you can trust the desire that's in your heart. You can trust that it was planted there for a reason, and you can trust the way that these things feel resonant and clear to you. And remembering that, like, you don't need to doubt yourself or doubt this vision of what feels right and clear for you. Okay, so this Ten of Pentacles is a reminder that like, whatever, if it's been challenging, if it's been hard, if like the details have like not been coming together super easily, right? This is a reminder that you can trust the feeling that's in your heart. You can trust this vision, you can trust these desires. Again, the details might need to be a little different, but it's about like not giving up on that vision. So that's the first very clear message I'm getting for you guys in group 2. If things have been hard or challenging, or you're like, there's no way I can do this, there's no way I can whatever, right? This is a reminder that you can trust that. You don't need to doubt yourself. You don't need to talk yourself out of like, it can't be this way for me, or it can't whatever, God has God has this written for everyone else except me. Okay, it's like trusting what feels right and good and pure in your heart. And going along with that, we have this Page of Cups. So I feel like, again, this does really hint to surprise, there's a fish in this cup. This does really hint to like some situations that were unpredictable, that were like, why is this happening? Where did this come from? What's going on? Why is this my situation? Right. So this Page of Cups is really about like being shocked. It's about like, again, some unforeseen circumstances, some things happening that, okay, well, I didn't know it was going to be like this. And so like, again, leading to those doubts of, is this the right path for me? Because there's so much challenge and pushback and things coming for me. But what I'm hearing very clearly is no, okay, like obstacles are the way, obstacles are on the path. That's very normal for these things to happen. And so this is really about, again, trusting that vision, trusting what's in your heart, trusting like these things that feel like are for you, even if the details are a little different. And again, it's okay to be for things to not go crystal clear, right? Not unfolding the way we want doesn't mean it's not unfolding. And like I said in the beginning, there are things for us to learn when there is hardship involved. There are things for us to learn along the way. It's not just like, as much as our egos would like it's not just this clear path of like, this is what I'm deciding, this is what I'm doing, the end, right? This is about knowing that there is so much around getting clear about these ways that, it's not like we're not in control of the whole world. There's a lot of factors going on. There's a lot of things going on. And there are situations, all these things that happen that do play into that, instead of, feeling like, okay, this isn't working for me, so I can't trust it, I can't whatever. Okay, so it's okay if there's shock, it's okay if there's surprise, it's okay if there's things to deal with as they come up. It's just about, again, this Page of Swords, picking your sword back up, getting rejuvenated within yourself, dusting yourself off, trying again and again, not spiritually bypassing, not making yourself like feel ready sooner than you are, or feel like, oh, I can't make this happen, or this isn't the right thing for me, or whatever. This Page of Swords is a reminder, like, you can set these boundaries. It's like, again, picking your sword up, being like, okay, here we go, I'm going to try one more time, just one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, one thing at a time, right? You don't, if this feels overwhelming, you don't have to commit to like doing everything forever and totally like, you know, being like toxically positive, right? Sometimes it is just like, okay, I'm just going to try today. Just today. I just have to commit to today. What can I do today? How can I show up in that way and do all of that? So again, this Page of Swords energy is really about like remembering the ways that you can pick your sword back up, set your boundaries, cut through the crap, move these things separately, these things that work for you, that don't work for you. Again, Page of Swords, really just like refreshing your energy, trusting yourself, trusting what's going on for you, remembering that you do have the ability to be able to, again, try again. You can try again, you can try again. And you don't need to rush yourself, okay? If you need to grieve something, or if something was challenging, if you need to move at a pace that feels good for you as you're moving through something, that's totally allowed and okay too. But again, this Page of Swords is just a reminder, like, you can dust yourself off and try again. You can let yourself create some new space for yourself, some new ways of being in a way that maybe like you didn't before. So again, really just remembering like you get to say no, you get to do all this with that, because that going into this Hangman, this is really saying like, don't give in to like this victim mindset. Okay. I don't really like that language, because sometimes we are a victim to things that happen to us, but like, don't play into like learned helplessness. Okay. So like the Hangman is when you play yourself. This is when you like give up your power. This is when you're just like, oh, I can't do anything. I can't, whatever. Right. Okay. So this is saying that like, if you have faced some obstacles, if you have faced some things that don't feel the best, I hear you. I feel for you. It's not the most fun, doesn't feel the best. Okay. But this hangman energy is really about really trusting yourself and really just noticing, like, okay, where have I decided to like give up completely on my dream because of like this one setback, right? So maybe it's this energy of like, okay, well, I can't do it in this particular way, or this particular thing isn't working for me, or this specific thing isn't written for me, seems like, okay, but where have I given up on my whole dream? Where have I given up on everything, right? Where have I thrown the baby out with the bathwater? Like completely given up, completely done all of that. So I think this is really about discernment, because also going into the Seven of Swords, this is about like not everything can come with you. So again, with swords being boundaries, and then again, this person, they can only carry 5 of the 7 swords, right? So I think this is using discernment. This is getting more clear, right? Sometimes we have obstacles or these things happen to us that don't feel the best, just so we can kind of see, okay, well, I learned I don't want that specific thing, or I learned that particular thing I didn't know was a boundary I need to have until that boundary got crossed with me. Or I didn't know that, this particular whatever wasn't the best fit for me until I tried it out. Turns out it's not. Okay. So this is really saying like when things don't go our way, or we have like a challenging time, we can use it to have more discernment and more clarity about the things that do work for us, right? Sometimes we think we have an idea of what we want, but once we have a physical reality experience, it's like, oh, that's actually not a match for me at all. Or it could be, well, I thought it had to be this one specific way, but turns out I don't really mind these super details of everything. So this is really saying like leaning into things not going our way or something not working out for us, and instead just realizing like, okay, well, what actually could have been a better fit for me, or what feels better for me in this way. So again, this like Seven of Swords reminder that you don't need to take everything with you where you're going, and you don't need to be in this place where you feel like, completely um like it's about fine tuning it, not being punished. That's just very clear guidance I'm hearing. Okay. So like going through a hard time or going through some of these challenging things, it's a reminder that like it's not for you to feel bad about yourself or feel like, oh, I chose wrong, I can't trust myself, right? This is about like, okay, well, what didn't work in this particular thing that I now know moving forward with this. And sometimes and that's not about taking the blame for someone else's bad behavior or blaming yourself when things are a little, again, challenging, but just getting clear about like, okay, this particular thing didn't work for me. So what can work for me? What do I feel like what will work for me in the future? And so really using that discernment and not falling into um, this helplessness. And this is like, again, sometimes we can get there because we either feel totally helpless and or we don't give ourselves the proper time to process something or be sad about something or have the emotions connected to something that we need to. So letting yourself have your process. That's it. I just want to make it very clear. I'm not into spiritual bypassing at all. If you need to be sad and upset about something, please hold space for that for yourself. Please let yourself feel all of that, but you don't need to you know, kind of like wallow in it and feel totally like, this is the end of the world for me with everything. Okay. So just remembering like giving yourself permission to feel what you need to feel without letting it mean, whatever story that your life is doomed forever about you. Because closing your reading, we have Temperance. So I love Temperance, of course, is a very beautiful card. It's about like nourishing, finding balance again. So I feel like as you work through these things, right? That's saying, I'm hearing a lot of sayings for you guys, group 2, okay? But the saying, suffering ends when meaning begins, right? So it's like, okay, well, what did I take from this? What did I learn from this? Not everything can come with me. And again, it doesn't have to be like, again, this like, oh, I learned that, but right. It could just be like, I learned to not be mean to myself. I learned to be more compassionate. I learned to be closer to God. If you get closer to God from a hard time, that is worth everything, honestly. Okay. So this is about remembering that, temperance, there can be balance. There can be like finding this awareness in yourself here again. There can be like, balancing these things out for yourself. Just remembering that like, you can have these things come back into balance and harmony with yourself, and knowing that temperance is, again, like just letting things find equilibrium, letting things balance out, equal out, and noticing, you don't need to like, you can take these things in stride and make the best of them, because of like who you are and what your heart is, and you are focused on your intention and what you want. So, and then also just letting some nourishing energy come in from God, from spirit, from the other side, from, again, however you identify with all of that. But, letting yourself be loved and cared for and held in like a loving way is also very much reflected here with this Temperance card. So giving yourself some grace, care, and compassion. So with this full moon, just, releasing maybe some of those stories of like, I can't have what I want, I don't deserve it. Okay. But then Temperance is also about remembering that um you can let yourself be cared for, and God is there for us to tap into this stream of like a lot of love and compassion for ourselves, not to tap into like this judgment and fear and whatever. It's there to be a source of love and care and gentleness and kindness, not judgment and blame and fear and all these other warped ways that people use this. Okay, I'm going to look at your oracle cards now. Oh, I think so. This one's really nice. I want to start with this one. So we have mystery. Mystery here. So I feel like, again, sometimes I'm laughing because I never do this, right? Okay. As humans, we can be like, this is my vision, this is how it's going to fold, it's going to be this exact way, right? But we forget there's the great mystery of life, okay? And we forget that there's so many things that we're not supposed to know all the answers. And as humans, we think just because we master certain things as we get older, or things feel more comfortable to us, that we're like, oh, I know everything about everything, and da da da. And when we don't have all the answers, when things aren't the most clear for us, that's when we can kind of be like, ooh, what's going on? So I think this is really lean into the mystery of life, lean into the fact that we will never have all the answers, lean into the fact that we don't know why certain things come up. Sometimes we don't know why something happens until days, weeks, months, years later. Sometimes we can't find, the reasoning in it, even ever, So just know, being humble enough to admit there is mystery in life and we will not know all of it is actually very freeing, very empowering for yourself, instead of, trying to like hold and focus in on that. So just saying like, I accept that I do not know everything about life. I accept everything is not in my control. I accept I don't know everything, right? There's just the great mystery here that we can lean into a little bit more than we do. And going along with that, we have the Angel Prince of the South. I pull this card all the time, so I think it's a good message for a lot of us, including me. Okay, so I let go of all pain and tension as I float in the sea of divine love. So again, just remember that like we can choose to, what I was just talking about, like this is very much this Temperance card of like, we can tap into this like loving, nourishing, gentle, kind energy that is available for us from the other side to tap into, to feel loved and cared for, instead of this fear, like all of this, just soothing, just soothe. So I let go of all the pain and tensions as I float in the sea of divine love. So kind of leaning into that love and care and trusting God, right? Believing in God in one thing and trusting God is totally another thing, a whole nother level of stuff. So it's a reminder, you can do that. You are safe to do that. That will nourish you as you move along on your path. And then we have, so these two kind of go together. So we have Whale and Orca Elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. And then we have the Magi. So both of these cards are about going deep within the self. They're about like these unseen realms. They're about like, like what I was talking about. Sometimes these obstacles come up so we can like uncover a new part of ourselves, like a strength within ourselves, or a connection to ourselves, or something within us that we didn't realize was there before, or we hadn't connected to before. So these two cards are to me both about like the unseen things. And again, even going along with this mystery card here too, just like there's so many parts of our souls and our beings that we don't even know. And we, again, if you're willing to do your work, we are fortunate enough to connect to and get clear about and just get more insight into, if we continue along our path of understanding ourselves. And so, diving deep, it takes strength, it takes courage to look at these parts of ourselves, to look at our awareness, to do all of that. And then the Magi, again, is about like these hands of fate and these hands of like, am I willing to hold myself, to go deeper within myself, to trust myself, to do all of that? So really trusting that, really holding space for that. And it's not easy to go deep. That's why a lot of people don't do it. But knowing that when you do trust yourself to do that, when you do connect to that part of yourself, you always will be rewarded for know for your willingness to like sit with yourself and go deeper and connect to yourself. All of that is very, very much valued and supported. And this is diving deep, baby. This is the real soul work, to like going into these energetic deep realms instead of just like, these materialistic ways some people think we are here to be on earth, which we're all on our own path, so God bless. But I'm assuming if you're watching a tarot reading on YouTube, you are you're here to do some a little bit deeper work with the self. Okay, I'm going to close your reading with one affirmation card for you guys in group 2. Okay, so this one flew out of the deck. I benefit with gratitude. So again, I feel like this is just a reminder that like kind of leaning into, I think the big message I'm getting for you guys in group 2 is like letting go of this resistance to obstacles, or letting go of this resistance to like, well, this didn't unfold the exact way I wanted, so it must not be for me. So I benefit with gratitude. Just remember that like, when we can look at something and just say, okay, this is how it was, I accept it, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity to be more loving, caring, kind, and compassionate to myself. It's easier to move forward through something than not. So I benefit with gratitude. So really, again, having gratitude for something doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean you condone it, doesn't mean you're like, sure, give me more hardship, God. Okay, we're not going to tempt the devil here. But I benefit with gratitude means, when you can find that peace and awareness in situations, it is easier for us to move through something with that. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much. Happy full moon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's for everyone who picked group number 3. So as a reminder, this is a full moon reading, so I'll be reading the cards in that way, in terms of letting things go, releasing, all of that energy. Okay, so you all pick the card Butterfly Maiden Transformation. You're experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. So this card looks really beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful. Okay. And transformation, that sounds so nice. We're experiencing enormous change, right? Once we get through the other side of the change, that feels really good. But group 3, if you're in the place where it doesn't feel that good, okay, I feel like that's more the message I'm getting for you guys, of just like, the butterflies go through the chrysalis stage, right? Where they literally are caterpillar, then they become goo, they melt into little goo, and then they go in their cocoon, and then they become a butterfly. So if you are in this like goo phase, if you are in this like, I can't get out, this feels so horrible, I feel like I'm dying, I'm going through an ego death. Okay, I want to hold space for that and identify that and honor that. And like, again, this is a really beautiful other side of the process, right? To have your wings, to be a butterfly, to be floating around, to be feeling great. But they're really, if you're in the space where you are in the transformation part of it, the chrysalis phase of it, where you need to be gentle with yourself, where you need to feel the feelings you need to feel to participate in your own transformation, just want to identify that. So this could be a card where just remember, like, the change will be worth it, the other side will be worth it, but you don't need to like convince yourself that what you're going through isn't painful or isn't hard or isn't challenging, right? There's emotional growth spurts just as much as there's physical growth spurts. And that's typically, of course, when we are going through spiritual change, when we are coming around the other side with all of that. So experiencing enormous change, to bloom into this other thing, to have this new life, we have to have things do need to fall apart. They do need to change. They do need to not feel the best, to get to the other side, right? If we want a new life, this life has to fall apart and change and, all of that first. So, experiencing enormous change will bring great blessings, which we can honor that and believe that, but it's okay to feel frustrated or confused or mad or going through the emotional process that comes with change, right? Everyone wants change, sounds really good, sounds really exciting, but the actual process of it a lot of times is very challenging, is very triggering, can be very painful. A lot of things we have to let go of, things we have to no longer hold on to, connect to, right? So transformation, again, experiencing enormous change, which brings great blessings. Just remember, the end will be worth it. You will become this beautiful butterfly floating around freely, but for right now, it might be a little challenging and not feel the best for yourself. Okay, I'm going to look at your tarot cards and then we'll look at your oracle cards. Okay, so opening your reading, you have the Seven of Wands. Beautiful. Then we have Knight of Cups in reverse. And then we have the Moon. And then we have Seven of Pentacles. So two sevens here, Four of Swords, and the Tower. Closing your reading. Okay, so yeah, I really feel seeing these cards here, group 3, I really feel that you might be in the not so idyllic part of transformation. If that's you, hang in there. Everything is worth it. The other side is worth it. The way the ego death is worth it. The way our lives fall apart to come back together again is worth it, right? Everything, all destruction leads to transformation and beautiful regrowth. And so hang in there if I'm really connecting with you with that. Because what I'm seeing right off the bat for you guys in group 3 is the Seven of Wands and Knight of Cups is reverse. Is there's a lot of resistance to this change, a lot. Okay, so a lot of times when it's time for us to change, when it's time for us to grow to whatever, like as humans, we like to be comfortable. We like to be like, this is my comfort zone. This is what I know. This is what feels good. This is where I am. This is the part of my life that is whatever, right? So this Seven of Wands can really be about resistance to that. And so a lot of times when we get in our comfort zone, it's really tempting and easy to be like, I'm going to stay here and I'm only going to move in a way that feels like good to me, or I'm only going to move in a way that feels like affirming to me, or I'm going to move in a way that, whatever. But if you are here for soul growth, we know that a lot of times that's not how it works. A lot of times we get drop kicked out of our comfort zone, or things change in life, or there's something totally different happens, and then we have to adjust to that and make changes and just be different with all of that. And when that happens, we don't really want to do that, which I'm also grouped in that category. I get it. Okay. It doesn't feel the best when God is just suddenly like, okay, here you go. Here's your change. Here's your new life. Here's your new thing you have to work through. Here's this big, ready or not. Sometimes we just get like, again, pushed into this brand new change and growth and whatever. And we think, oh, I want my transformation to be on my terms and at my pace and my this and my that. And some things are, but of course, we all know there are some times in our lives where things happen that really push us into this next layer of growth and change that, again, maybe we probably wouldn't have chosen for ourselves. So I'm seeing a lot of resistance to that. If that happened to you, group 3, you have my love and compassion, and please know that it's not just you. This happens to everyone. It doesn't make it any better sometimes, but it's not personal. It's just Earth school. Okay, so the Seven of Wands to the Knight of Cups in reverse. Seven of Wands is like a lot of battle within the self. It's a lot of, you see there's no one else on this card, but this person really feels like they're on the defensive. It's really when we feel disoriented, we feel like we can't really get grounded. They have two different shoes on this card, right? So this is just a lot of energy of like, I can't really get my footing. I don't really know where I am or who I am or what's going on, or, all of that. Things are going through that. And then this Knight of Cups in reverse, I feel like, in the upright, it is slow and steady movement, especially like with our emotions. And so I feel like this is saying the longer that you resist whatever this change has brought up for you within yourself, the less, like, the more you resist that, is the longer you're not going to be able to connect to your own emotions and feel like clarity and growth within yourself. So again, the Seven of Wands is really about resisting that. And then the more you resist, like the more you resist this change, the more you resist, like, okay, this is my life right now. This is where I am. This is what I have to deal with. This is what's going on. Okay, the more we resist that, the longer it takes you to kind of move through that, right? Denial is the opposite of being able to move forward. And that's not a judgment, right? Sometimes denial protects us a lot. Denial is a survival skill. Denial is helpful. So it's okay if we have to, kind of go to that place at first, but eventually we have to be like, okay, this isn't ideal, but I know I need to look at it. I know I need to get my head out of the sand. I know I need to move forward in these ways to like change my life. So, again, what I'm hearing for you guys in group 3 is like, you can pray for willingness. You can say, God, even though this is totally not ideal and I really hate it, please help me accept it. Please help me see that I need to move forward with my life. Please grant me the power to, take the steps I need to take to show up for myself, to be able to get there. Okay. And so just kind of like moving through some of this resistance to get yourself to the other side, because again, like the point of transformation is for us to develop more emotional depth and maturity within ourselves. And we can't do that and we can't connect to that if we're not um, kind of like allowing what is to come through for us. So again, I feel like praying for acceptance, praying for willingness to move forward, even if, again, you don't really want to. There's a lot of things in life that are determined by if we are willing to look at something, not whether we want to or not, right? It's like we're not in control of what's brought to us. We're just in control of how we respond to it and what we do with that. And again, that's not condoning something. It's not saying, sure, it's okay, give me more of it, right? But it is what it is. That's how life is. And so I feel like group 3, if you guys have really been going through some of this, this transformation again, can really, it can be challenging, but it's not, um, you don't need to feel like you're being punished or you can't come out of the other side because of these things. So again, asking God to help you remove some of your like resistance to something, removing, you know, the way that, oh, well, I thought it had to be this, and this way, but instead like letting that go and creating space for something else to come through. Because we have these 2 cards right into the beautiful moon. The moon card is about like the unseen realms. It's about not just only our subconscious, but it's also about these things we can't control. It's about like fate being woven together. It's about the way God takes care of things for us. God assembles things for us, right? So we can only see our part with our limited human mind. And so sometimes we can't see the ways that God is really doing this, and this thing to like show up for us, to take care of us, to do all of that. So this moon card is really a reminder that God is working on your behalf. There are things coming together, things are unfolding for your highest good, even if you can't see them. And so this is just a reminder that, like, when it feels like, when God is silent, when it feels like there's no guidance, when it feels like you have no clue what's going on, just keep, and I know this is easier said than done, so I'm not trying to be like flippant or like dismissive or anything, but just remembering like this is part of trusting in God, is like when you feel like you have no clue what's going on, you feel like, how could this be happening? Right? This is a reminder that something is happening, something is coming together from the other side, and there are these things being taken care of on your behalf. And when things just feel like, what is going on over and over and over, that's when you lean into your faith even more. And that's when you lean into some of this, like, okay, God's going to make a way. God's going to make something happen. It doesn't mean we get like the exact outcome we want, but it does mean that we can find serenity will come, peace will come, acceptance will come. We can make a new way for ourselves. We can be, transformed, and then, be on a different path with these things. So the moon this is just a very clear message I'm getting for you guys in group 3. Oh, this is a little deep reading, group 3. So if you're here, I'm sending you a lot of love, but this is saying, stay with these things and you will be able to get to the other side, and you will be able to have you'll be shown why eventually, with these things. Because then look at this. So we have the 7 of Pentacles into the 4 of Swords. So I feel like, you are being part of transformation again. The end result, I'm a beautiful butterfly. Wow, this is amazing. Okay, but part of the transformation process is really taking some time to pause and go inward. So the 7 of Pentacles is about looking at ourselves. It's about turning inward. It's about being contemplative. It's about saying, okay, this, and this is going on for me. But, like taking stock, taking inventory, what did I learn from this? What was the point of this? What do I want to keep moving forward with me? And like, none of that is to blame yourself or to, again, spiritually bypass something or to make yourself feel a certain way if you don't feel like it, right? But this is just about like pausing, taking inventory, look at what happened, look at where you are, kind of taking stock of reality. Because again, sometimes we have these huge changes in our lives, and then we're just so caught up in, like, which is understandable, being in survival mode, trying to figure things out in physical reality, that we don't give ourselves time to reflect and turn inward. So group 3, if you're in the middle of a transformation, this is a really big message to really hold space for yourself, really check in with yourself, really take stock, really take inventory, and not like judge yourself for this process that's going on for you, and not judge yourself for like, oh, I can't do this or this thing, or I don't know what's going on, right? Sometimes, again, we have this certain denial in order to survive, but I think with this full moon, you can ask for the denial and the resistance to leave and kind of close that and look at more of like, okay, how can I take stock in the situation? How can I get clear about what's going on for me? How can I take inventory and say, okay, this is what I can control in this transformation, in this change in my life, and what can I look at with that, and how can I do that? And then so that's one part of it, physical reality, like taking stock. And then we have this Four of Swords, which I love this card. It's really about turning inward. It's really about resting. It's about prayer. We see the very clear prayer hands there. And so just kind of turning inward and saying, okay, well, what am I going to do with all that now? What am I like? And, God, show me what to do next. Show me the next way to show up for myself. Show me these ways I need to move into these next layers of my life and these things for myself. Right. So this energy is really about taking inventory and then saying like, okay, now I know this. So what? God, show me the next thing to do. What's next for me? What do I do? How do I move? How do I do all these things? Right. So this Four of Swords is about turning inward. It's about taking inventory with yourself. It's about, again, getting clear of, like really, really turning inward and really asking God to speak to you in a way that is clear and that you can understand and that feels good to your heart. So again, this Four of Swords, really easy to just be like, part of transformation is surrendering to it, which again, no one wants to hear. Okay, but this could be a reminder that it's helpful to turn inward and say, God, show me what to do next. Show me how to move forward. Show me the next thing you want me to do with all of this. And so like taking stock, taking inventory, and then knowing like it's not your job to solve this on your own, and you can rely on your higher power, your angels, your ancestors, other gods and goddesses, your whatever whatever feels good to you, with all of that. But just remembering like, okay, once I get through this transformation, once I stop the resistance, there can be space for me to kind of check in with that. Because closing your reading with the Tower, this transformation is going to happen one way or another. So really leaning into that and just being like, okay, let the tower fall down, baby. Here we go. Like, this is the end. This is what's happening. This is what needs to come next for me. Here we go. Let me lean into it. My guess is group 3, because there is like some pretty clear guidance around this, is that you are in the middle of a transformation. There has been some resistance to it. So I feel like the last thing to do is just like surrender fully and just be like, this is my life. This is what happened. This is where I am. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to show up for myself. And just, again, leaning into that. And it doesn't mean that it's the end. It doesn't mean that there's gloom and doom written for you forever, right? We come through these other sides as chrysalis, as like reborn. But again, the process to get there is not really the thing people talk about. People talk about the butterfly at the end because that's the beautiful, wonderful part, not like the goo in the middle. It's necessary, but it's not, the best feeling or greatest feeling thing that happens. Okay, I'm going to look at your oracle cards. Okay, so, this is like the theme of your whole reading, group 3, shadow. Again, like a lot of times I was talking about in the beginning, where there are times where we change, where we're like, oh, I chose that and it's so fun and I'm ready to change and do this, this, and this, right? But then there's a lot of change and transformation we're pushed into, that doesn't feel the best. And it's, again, when we are willing to hold the shadow parts of it, the parts that don't feel the best, the parts of us that get activated, that feel like a little upset about the whole process. Okay, that's where the real work comes from. Not just physical, we think it's from physical reality shifting, which it is, that's part of it. But this part also goes into the fact that, we have to look at these not ideal parts of ourselves, and these things that come up through this process of change. And that's really what helps us find resilience within ourselves, find clarity within ourselves, find awareness with these things. This is how we discover parts of ourselves. We build a deeper connection with ourselves, right? When we go through certain situations with people in our lives, we feel bonded with them, and the same thing with ourselves. When we go through situations that aren't ideal or don't feel the best, we feel we feel bonded and closer to ourselves after going through these situations. So shadow, again, this might not be change you chose or change you really liked, but this is where we are, asking God to help you accept it and help you move through it and help you, give you the strength to do this. Because just like I was saying, there is clarity here. Okay, a lot of things with this Tower card, right? A lot of things get cleared out. It's the storms come to clear the path sometimes, right? So this clarity that you'll get this new understanding with yourself. Maybe you'll get more connection to your higher power. Maybe you'll get more clarity around like inventory of your current life, right? None of this is in vain. When your heart is surrendered to God, nothing is in vain in this life. Okay. And so this clarity here can be just a reminder that like these things that don't feel the best are often orchestrated for our soul growth, right? And this is, again, my spiritual beliefs. Part of why we're on earth is to grow and expand on the soul level. And if you don't believe that, I don't think you would be, whatever, 20 minutes into a reading with me on YouTube if you're still here. But, so if you believe clarity and soul growth and working through these things is part of why we're here, not just like to climb the ladder of success and gather these material things, right? Then, clarity comes from hardship. Clarity comes from these challenging times with ourselves. And again, that's not saying like, yes, God, give me more. I can't wait, right? But this is reminding us that clarity does come from these certain situations. And then we have You Got the Love, Hadarian energy, codependency, boundaries. So I feel like, again, maybe this transformation is based around codependency. Sometimes that's with other people. It's a very common way, but codependency can also exist with like substance abuse. It can exist with work. It can exist with like our attachments to certain success, or this has to be this certain thing, right? So this card is really about reminding us that there are certain things to work through besides just like there's codependency to work through besides just with other people. It can be our reliance on many things, right? We can get codependent on anything. It's just where we give something more power than ourselves. And based on my spiritual beliefs, it's also making something God that is not God. So again, You Got the Love. Just remember, maybe this transformation is about getting more clear about your boundaries, what you want to allow into your life, what you don't want to allow into your life, how you want to show up, all of that. But just remembering, again, like, so we go through hardship sometimes to just get more clear, get a better framework for how we can show up for ourselves. And then last oracle card for you, we have Archangel Metatron. Love him. I am united with the source of all goodness, love, and creativity. So again, I think, sometimes when we go through transformation, especially if you didn't grow up with a super strong spiritual practice, sometimes we can forget that like God is there to give us the strength to get through these things. God's not going to do our work for us. We have to do it. But we have to remember that, we are connected to that stream and that source and that strength. And like God will never make us go through something that we can't go through without God being there for us. So just remembering, I'm united with the source of all goodness, love, and creativity. When things feel out of our control, that's when it can be the easiest for us to be like, I'm alone, I'm not doing this, whatever, right? And sometimes it is just you in physical reality, but you are always connected to the other side. You can always open up your heart to get connection from that other side, to pour into you, to feel better, to feel more clear, to feel, all of that. So just remembering like you are united with the source of all goodness, love, and creativity. You can tap into source, you can tap into spirit, you can tap into God. You don't need to, strong arm yourself into like, it's just me here, like really rely on that love, that loving, nourishing energy from the other side. Like that really can be a source of love and care for you. Okay, I'm going to close with one affirmation card for you guys, group 3. I just want to say this was an intense reading. If you're going through it, hang in there. I'm sending you a lot of love. It will be worth it. You will be so proud of yourself, just one day at a time. Rely on your healthy toolkit, rely on your spiritual practice. You can do this. Just hang in there. Okay. I'm with you. I know the transformations that are required in this realm, and they're not totally the best feeling sometimes. Okay, so we have I spread joy. So this might be annoying to hear right now. Okay, so this doesn't mean that you have to be like, everything's fine, I'm not going through this transformation. Okay, but I spread joy is just a reminder that give yourself, this was a pretty heavy reading. Okay, so I spread joy is just a reminder, give yourself permission to feel light, to feel joy, to feel these small moments of laughter, of peace. Like let yourself feel loved and cared for. Let yourself smile at like nature or an animal or something cute, like I spread joy. There is still joy and beautiful things around us and beauty and connection. So I spread joy is a reminder that, to connect to all of that and let yourself feel this beautiful energy of joy and lightness and laughter as you're going through all of these things. Okay, because this is transformation and these things, this is always going to be part of life. So giving yourself permission, again, to feel that joy and care and lightness and freedom is a gift and you are deserving no matter what you're going through. Let yourself enjoy it as much as you can, even if it's just small moments of like joy and laughter and lightheartedness. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.